Hi everyone, this is Lily,
This is Vidia,
and welcome to Girls
Grace,
and
and
Giggles.
Giggles. All right, welcome to episode 7, which is
Woohoo!
our first episode in 2025 as well.
Hooray!
If you've listened this far, thank you. Please,
Well done.
yeah, please
Please
continue
continue.
on. We thought, for this episode would be appropriate to talk about our travel stories because I've personally had some travels the past couple months. You'll be
Right.
traveling soon, and you've traveled to
We
many
both
places.
traveled, yeah.
And I guess just as a disclaimer, we're not, trying to brag of places we've been. I feel like
No.
travel is always going to be a privilege.
Yeah.
And it's,
It
something that is so like beneficial because you learn so much, you get inspired, you meet people of different backgrounds, and
just 100%.
Just like a lot of good things coming out of travels. So I guess why don't you share with us why you like traveling, and how does travel inspire you?
I think for me, perhaps it started when I was quite young. Like my upbringing, my parents always liked to travel. I mean, we traveled here to Canada, immigrated here. That was a big travel. But yeah, when we were with quite little means, when we were starting out, just living as the life of a poor immigrant, we would just take road trips anywhere and everywhere, and we would try to just see more of the world. I think my parents enjoy it, and so that perhaps like just kind of flowed into me, and it's something I think I will enjoy for the rest of my life. It's something that inspires me, because it makes me realize this world is really big. And there's a lot to see. There's so many different people and places and cultures that we haven't experienced yet. And I feel like, wow, like it's really a like a break from the normality of your life,
day-to-day.
from the day-to-day monotony. and just to see something new and explore that. And I think that thrill is exciting, and it's something that just doesn't ever get old for me.
I think that's pretty much why I like traveling as well, especially the point about how the world is so big, because it just really humbles you to see so many things you were not exposed to in your own country or your own city. I remember traveling to Taiwan for the first time, and that was my first like international travel.
Right.
I really
for
uni, yes. And I could really understand the saying in Chinese, like 人 like 山外有山人外有人. And I'm like, yeah. Like if you just stay in one place, I think your perspective.
You don't want to translate that?
Yes. Sorry, how do we translate that?
Like there's well, literal translation is like there are mountains beyond the mountains and people beyond people. But it actually means like you broaden your horizons to the point that you realize there's always like more excellence above whatever you thought was the ceiling. You're like, wow, there's even more excellent people, or even more like bigger and broader horizons to see.
Thank you. And I think that's why I'd like to see like a lot of new and different things, so that you get new and different perspectives. And I think that really helps you understand things from different different perspectives. It also kind of like helps you to be more creative because you've seen many different ways of living, many different cultures,
and I think more understanding, more empathetic, more well traveled. Well, yes, by default, but I think so for someone that's well traveled, it allows you to realize there are so many different ways of living. And that is kind of amazing.
And of course the adventurous side of travel, like new experiences, like being outside of your comfort zone. That's always thrilling. So what kind of traveler are you? Like what do you seek when you visit places, or how do you what kind of destinations do you usually look for?
Yeah, that's a good question. Destinations I look for are places I've never been. So that's fairly easy to like like do.
Does that mean you
Um
won't go to the same city twice?
I mean, I try not to.
Okay.
I try not to because I feel like there's more to see
Mm-hmm.
outside unless it's for like a specific reason.
Right. Or maybe
Um
different seasons.
yeah, or different
Yeah.
seasons, but I will go back to like the same country, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
like different cities in that
Yeah.
country. And yeah, I think I try my best to feel, because I feel like oh, there's still so many places that are unexplored for me, and if I go back to the same place, it seems as though I'm like, like
Like wasting that
yes,
time.
wasting that opportunity. So I try not to, but then if I do, then I try as best as I can to have new experiences in that place. Like, oh, I didn't get to go to, this place last time.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure to visit this store or this street or whatever, to kind of make up for that.
Yeah.
And it's also a new experience, right? Even though it's in the same city. So I think for me, in terms of exploring, I am, I guess you said culture seeker or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's me.
Mm.
Like I'm not really big on shopping per
Same.
se. Unless it's Japan. I feel like I do make an exception for Japan because there's just a lot of things that I would purchase in Japan. Um but yeah, I'm not really big on shopping. I'm not really big on like the glitz and the glam of stuff, but I would like to see like museums. I would like to go and like see architecture. I would like to go see like nature, or like just, I think whatever the place that I'm visiting is known for, I would like to experience that thing.
Mm-hmm. Like the mainstream ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, for example, like in Europe, I would definitely make time to see the museums and like walk around the city,
Mm-hmm.
eat some like specific food that they're known for there, or just indulge in like whatever is kind of their cultural expertise. But then for places in Asia, like Japan, I would focus more on like shopping. Simply because I
The
feel like
exception.
it's just, there's so many things to purchase there, like honestly. Yeah, get that sunscreen, and like, yeah,
Yes.
honestly. But yeah, I think it's like to each their own locations. Like
Yeah.
for example, in Korea, of course, they're very well known for their skincare and their makeup, and very high technology for that, like spatials and spas and all that stuff. So I'm like, if I'm there, maybe I will seek those experiences where I
Mm.
otherwise wouldn't, right? Or Southeast Asia, I would like eat some really good
Food.
food, exactly, and stay at a very nice hotel for very cheap, and then get some really nice spa
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
massage,
yeah.
like in Thailand or
Yeah.
something. So I
Well
think
done.
it
Yes.
just depends on the place that I'm visiting. I would like to experience what that place is known for, which I think is similar for many people.
Yeah, I
But
think at least
yeah.
similar to me. But I do really, really love nature.
Yep.
That's a huge draw for me. Especially having lived in Jakarta for almost my whole life. I really seek out nature.
Like trees, the
Yes,
mountains,
yes.
water.
Yeah. Yeah, more partial to the mountains.
They be calling.
Yes. I feel so at home
And you must
when I'm on the
go.
mountains. So yeah, my dream would be to go on a multi-day hiking or kayaking or camping trip. But
Nice.
it's because I don't have the means, mostly the knowledge of like how to do
Well, you
those
can
trips.
join those like tour things, like a group activity thing.
Yeah, I would like to, as long as at least I have like a friend joining me, because I think who you travel with is also matters. Yeah, that really
Yes, the
matters.
companions.
Exactly. So
So are you solo? I guess you're less solo than you are like companion
I think I
travel,
would
right?
like, yeah, I would like to travel with at least like someone or a
Like one
friend,
friend.
at least if possible. But
Mm-mm.
if nobody's around and I still want to visit somewhere, I'll still do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think nature is a big draw for me, but I do seek out like culture,
Mm.
um history,
Mm.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah, much less on shopping.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I was
Same.
in Milan, I didn't shop at all, and it's known as a city where you get all those like branded stuff.
Man.
Like, not for me.
It just wasn't attractive to me.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, I'd much rather like. That's why I booked the ticket the next day to go to Venice. I was like, yeah, I'm out.
You're like, you're
Peace
done.
out.
Yeah, but I'm like you. I would visit the hotspots first just to get to know what the hype is all about, and then I'd be really open.
It's like, yeah, it's not up to the hype, not worth it,
or it is.
Or it is.
But yeah, I'd be hoping to mix like the trip with the mainstream places and also some of the lesser known areas.
Same. It's like a good mix, eclectic mix.
Yes. Yeah. So what is...
I think I'm more partial to like solo travel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've just done it more. And I feel like there's just more freedom. Like you literally can do whatever you want. There's no agenda. There's no like other person you have to accommodate. And you just explore. You just take your own time. But I mean, now that I've like, maybe that was more in my 20s. But now that I've aged, I'm like, oh, it would be nice to have like a companion and like travel with friends or like, but I think that it would be really cool if like I were to travel solo, but then I would meet up with someone in like that city.
Yeah, that would be the ideal situation.
Yes, a mix of both. We do activities together, but like I'm still kind of...
It's never happened to me though. I think I'm too like cautious and I don't know, maybe too focused.
But you've done solo travel. You've done the
but
LA
I have
ones.
Never made friends like on the trip.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've made friends per se, but like you just like a friendly kind of face and encounter.
Yeah, but that's it. Like there was never a trip where I was traveling solo. I met someone and then like we continued traveling together. I think I was...
Oh, no, sorry. I meant that like let's say that I go to like destination A and then like I know someone who lives there already. And then like we like see the city together.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes,
not that
I do that.
Not that I made a friend and then we like, nah, I'm not like I'm not that amazing. That's like that takes a lot of like extroversion and like a lot. Yeah, no, I cannot.
Yeah.
That's too much. No.
So, what is your most unforgettable experience?
Ooh, like in what way?
In any kinds of way. Memorable travel story.
There's quite a few. I mean, the good and the bad. So I'll give you... Okay, do you want me to give you like 2 good and 1 bad?
Whatever
or like
you
2
want.
bad and 1 good? Okay, I'll give you one that I think was quite memorable for like the wrong reason.
Oh no.
Yeah. So essentially it was... Is
that memorable or traumatizing?
More tiresome than anything. Okay. But if you want traumatizing, I can give you some of those as well. But maybe for another day. But so basically I was supposed to take a flight to basically there was this conference that I wanted to attend, and this was in The Hague, which is in the Netherlands. And I was traveling from Ottawa to Toronto, and then Toronto to Amsterdam. And then you take a train from Amsterdam to The Hague, which is where the final destination was. So even in saying all of that, it sounds already like a tiresome journey, right? But like, do not fear, it gets worse. So basically, I flew from Ottawa to Toronto successfully. And then I had a 10-hour layover, which was fine. It was in the daytime, and then I just was like watching movies and whatever at the airport. And my flight from Toronto to Amsterdam was at night. So I think it was like maybe like a red-eye flight around 10 or something, 10, 11. So anyhow, I get on the flight, and I think it was KLM. But nothing against KLM. This was not their fault. But basically, I get on the flight, and then I have to like write like 2 reports for the conference. So I'm just like writing my reports on the plane. But we've loaded, and like at that time, the captain is supposed to be like, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, like we're like welcome to blah blah blah. I am your captain," and blah, 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 all that stuff. And he just doesn't say that, and we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. 2 hours goes by. We're just sitting on the tarmac.
Oh no.
Yeah, it turns out that there was something wrong with the plane.
Because there was no phalange.
No left phalange. No. That was like a Friends reference. But anyway, no, it was because there was something wrong with the engine, and they were trying to get a guy to like fix it, and then the guy couldn't fix it, and they were trying to look for another part, and the part wasn't there. So anyhow, it was a big plane too. It was like one of those like Airbus 330s. So we all had to deboard or like offboard the plane. And then by this time it was like past midnight. And then everyone had to like wait to get their luggage and then line up to like get taken to a hotel for the night and like get their flights rebooked. And so I had a friend on that flight with me, and like I was waiting for his luggage. My luggage came and his was like still like waiting, and he's like, "Oh, you can just like go on ahead without me." But then I felt a bit bad. I was like, "Oh, we can like leave together." Little did I know his luggage was like one of the last luggages to be like loaded onto the like turnstile. And so we were waiting there till like probably 2 a.m. like at the airport, and then afterwards we had to line up to like go to the like onto the bus for the bus to take us to the like a nearby hotel. And then it was just madness. So by the time I finally got to the like hotel, settled down, it was like probably 4 a.m.
Oh wow.
It was awful. And then not only that, I didn't know my flight for the next day.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if I could sleep till like, goodness knows when, or I have to get up at 6 a.m. or whatever. And so for like, safety, I was just like, and just playing it more like conservatively. I just like woke up. I was like, I took a shower too, because I was like, I feel so disgusting. I've been in the airplane or at the airport for like, more than 12 hours. And yeah, it was just not a good thing. So essentially we get to the next day. It was a very like not peaceful sleep. The next day, at the breakfast, I get my flight booking, and it was for like sometime in the afternoon, like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and it was like a flight from Toronto to Frankfurt, and then Frankfurt to Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I was like, oh man, like there's a connection. I don't even have like a direct, but okay, whatever. So I eat the breakfast, and then like we get to the airport, but then because they have like shuttles, like each shuttle is like by every hour or something. So I'm like, oh okay, then I'll get on the like an earlier shuttle and I'll be at the airport. So then I was back at the airport, but I was too early at the airport, and I was like, oh okay, whatever, I'll just like stay and wait longer at Pearson. Like this is dragging on for so long. Finally I get on the flight from Toronto to Frankfurt. Now this is where the real like adventure begins.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like this is a long story, but I'll try to make it concise. So finally I land in Frankfurt. At this point I'm so exhausted. Little did I know that I have to change terminals in the Frankfurt airport, because of course I have to get on like the next flight from Frankfurt to Amsterdam, right?
Mm.
And the Frankfurt airport, that was the one and only time I've been. My God, it's huge. It is a gigantic airport, okay? And from one terminal to another, I had a little like carry-on luggage and like a big check-in. The check-in was fine, that was taken care of, but I had a carry-on, and I had to go from like one terminal to another, and I had to go through security. And the connection was a bit tight.
Yeah.
And so I was like hustling to like get to the front of the line to like, get on my way. And wouldn't you know it, the lady in front of me, it's like she's never been in an airport before. Like she was taking her sweet time to like take out literally every single electronic device. Like she would scan it and it would beep, and then she would have to go back. She's like, oh, I forgot my iPad. Like, oh, I forgot my headphones. I was just like internally screaming at this woman, like, Lord have mercy. But I was just like, man, I was like so like agitated, and she was so slow. And the frustrating thing is, she was not even old. She's not like an elderly woman who was like, restricted by her age to like move slowly. She was like a young lady. So I was like, do you know that people behind you are like in a hurry? Like, and she was like chatting with the security guy, and they were like la-di-da, and I was just like, I'm sorry, but I really have to catch a flight, and like, can you like please hurry, basically. And I think the poor security guy had some like took mercy on me and was like, okay, you can like come through first. And then my thing beeped. And I was like, oh my God, like, are you serious?
One
At
thing
this
after
point,
another.
it turns out because I put toothpaste in my carry-on, he's like, this is a liquid, you have to declare it. I'm like, just take it, just take the toothpaste, because I'm like, I have to get to like, I don't know, like 87 or whatever the gate was. And it was like, okay, what letter? I'm like, oh, it's like F. And he was like, oh, F? Then that's on the other side of the building. He's like, okay, you can go. So I like ran and I was like, okay, I'll take those, like, you know, those like what are those, like the walking
travelator?
Like travelators. They're all broken. And so I'm like running. If you can imagine me like like full sprint. And then it was like on the second floor and like the elevator was broken. Like everything that could happen wrong, like Murphy's Law, like everything that can happen will happen. So I'm like sprinting up the stairs. I'm like sprinting down the hallways. And I'm like, why is this so far? And then like the number, you know, like it's like a really long number. Like I had to like, it was like basically at the end of the end of the line. I finally, like, I'm out of breath. I get there. There's no one there. And I'm like, oh shit, I missed the flight. And the lady is like, oh, didn't you know, like, this flight changed gate? It's at the other end. And I was like, are you serious? And you're like, yeah, they're boarding soon. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, because I saw this, actually, before I started sprinting, I looked and it was the same gate number. So that's why I booked it all the way to the end of the end of the hall. And they're like, oh yeah, like they changed the gate and it's on the other, like it's back where you were. Oh my God. So I'm like running. And at this point, I'm like breaking out in hives. I'm just like hyperventilating. It's like, it's a moment. I finally get there. And thank God there's like a lot of people. So I'm like, okay, I didn't like miss the flight.
Yeah.
So I get there and then I'm finally like there. And then they're like, oh, ladies and gentlemen, the flight is delayed. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. So long as that I didn't like delay it. I made it. So I get on the flight. And I'm like, okay, finally, we're on flight to Amsterdam. And then on the flight, I just pass out because I'm so tired. Halfway through the flight, I kind of like wake up in that like half awake, half asleep mode.
Okay, what happened on the flight?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing some like bad weather in Amsterdam. There is like heavy fog. We will have to just be up in the air and just like hover for a bit until the fog like dissipates.
How long?
I don't know. I fell asleep.
Okay.
But I was just like, okay, what? At this point, I was like, whatever. Like, I'm getting there somehow. So eventually, I think the fog dissipates or whatever, and we land in Amsterdam. And I'm like, praise the Lord Jesus that I've made it to Amsterdam. Now, all I have to do,
all odds.
Yeah, all I have to do now is take a train from Amsterdam to The Hague. And the good thing about the Amsterdam Schiphol airport is that like right underneath it is the train station. So it's like it's all interconnected, which is great. And the train typically just takes like 40 minutes to The Hague. And I've been to The Hague before this, so I knew the system well. However,
dun 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 dun.
Typically there are like direct trains from the Amsterdam airport to The Hague. But this time they're like, oh, actually today we are doing maintenance on the tracks. So you will have to take your train to Leiden, which is like a city in between The Hague and Amsterdam. And then take a bus from Leiden to The Hague. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, just lay it on me. So I take the train from Amsterdam to Leiden and then take the bus from Leiden to The Hague. I finally get to The Hague airport, The Hague train station. And then I get a taxi and then it takes me to like the hotel where I'm staying at. And then like I finally like I can like I'm so dead tired at this point. I think I've been traveling for like 45 hours or something ridiculous at that point. And then the next day, the conference starts like 7 a.m. So by the time I got there, it was like sometime maybe 3 in the afternoon or something. And so I passed out till like 7, like right away. It's like 7 p.m. I wake up and then I see like my other friends who were at the conference. And then they're like, yeah, the conference tomorrow starts at 8, but we have to get there at 7:30 because of this and that. So we have to get up at 7. I was like, all right. So I'm jet lagged. I'm so dead exhausted. And then that was just the beginning of this whole conference thing. the conference went well, it was fun, but I
But
was
how to get
so
there
exhausted. That was
its own
like
story.
a perilous journey, and one for the books for sure. So yeah, that's kind of my long-winded story.
I can see why it's like very
memorable. Oh yeah,
memorable in a I don't know, in a bad way.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean,
never again.
I bet like at every point of your travel, you were like expecting, okay, what else? What else is gonna happen?
Yeah.
Just
like
just
actually,
give it to me.
I was just like, oh, because at first I was like, a 10-hour layover is a bit excessive, and I was like, but it's okay. Like, I'll just chill at the airport. It's fine, and then I'll take the flight to Amsterdam and da da da. Little did I know, my oh my, that was quite a day. So
well, yeah. Well, my unforgettable story is completely different. It is
Yeah.
like memorable, like for a good reason.
That's good.
Yeah, this was back in like Christmas time 2022. So, travel was just like opening up after COVID. So I went
Right.
with my younger sister for like a mini Southeast Asian tour.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So we
cute.
went to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The original plan was just to see JJ Lin, like his concert,
Yeah.
but then we kind of made it into like a bigger mini Southeast Asian tour. So yeah, we had like culinary tours in Kuala Lumpur. Great place to eat, by the way. Highly recommend. And then we went to Hanoi and Sapa. So we spent like longer days in Vietnam. Also a great country to eat. So
yeah,
I
like
actually,
Hanoi sounds really good.
yeah,
for
I would
too.
actually go back to Vietnam just for the food. And before that trip, I was like, yes, I do like food, but I don't think I would travel for food. But for Vietnam, I'm like, yeah, it's worth it.
Wow, how
and
about
then
that?
yeah, and then we ended the trip in Singapore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's actually where we spent Christmas. We went to Universal Studios, super packed. So don't visit on Christmas Day.
Really, it's still open on Christmas?
Yes.
They wouldn't be
yeah,
closed?
it's Asia.
Okay.
Holidays are when you make business.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like super, super packed. I think we were there for like the whole day, and we only were on like a couple rides because the lines were quite crazy. But yeah, it was very memorable because she and I don't travel together as much, and we were able to get away for quite a long time.
So how many days was it?
I think 7 days,
Oh, okay,
7 or
that's
8
pretty
days
good.
or something. Yeah, and we traveled on a carry-on, and because I don't travel light, unfortunately, and I was quite proud of myself. So
7 days is not.
Yeah, I know.
7 days you would take a check-in luggage? No,
it's Southeast Asia. It's hot, like you have
but
to...
all your clothes would be really like light and like summer, so you can like like
this
fit
is why
a
I
lot.
put the disclaimer. I don't travel light. And that's why I was so like proud. I could make it happen.
You did it.
But yeah, that trip was very memorable because it just like checked so many boxes. Like the company was great. The destinations were great.
Yeah.
Costs were quite affordable as well. And no like cancellations or delays, as you were just
so
like
good.
mentioning.
Yeah, you don't realize how much like the air travel like factors into your trip, because if there's one delay and you're relying on that flight, then you're kind of screwed. Like it kind of pushes everything back.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Especially with what happened to you, it just has had the ripple effects.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, any funny, embarrassing
any fun things? Yeah. After this like saga of like a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, you gotta let us know why travel is your hobby.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some very good highlights. I would say that my more recent travel in Iceland was wonderful. So when you were talking about nature and everything, like I really do recommend Iceland. It was amazing. It was.
And you saw the Northern Lights.
I did. I did see the Northern Lights, and we had this really funny tour guide. He was like he was like, yeah, the company tour is like taking you to this location, but I'm just gonna take you to this other location, because he himself is like an avid like photographer, like night photographer. And so the place he was taking us was literally like pitch dark. Like it was just darkness.
Perfect.
And all you can see were like the spotlights from the car, the headlights. Like you could just maybe see like like few feet in front of you, like nothing more. And it's like from a scary movie, because we were in this like van, with some other people, and I was like, wow, this is like perfect story to a murderer. Like this is
You
where
can
you
get
kill
kidnapped,
us. Yeah, exactly.
killed, and nobody would
Because you
know.
literally can't see anything. Like you put your hand in front of your face and you can't
Oh
see it.
wow.
It was just so dark, and he needed that because he's like, this is the best place with like basically no light pollution.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow. And you get out of the car and then you just see like stars, and it was amazing. And I was like, wow, like there's just so many stars, and you can actually see the Milky Way. I've never like it was amazing. I was like, what is this? Like, wow, it was incredible. And then I was like, there was this one particular really bright star, and I was like, what's that? And he's like, oh, that's Venus. I was like, oh, I can see Venus like
Yeah.
with my eyes, like with my eyeballs. Like that was incredible. And then we saw the Northern Lights, and then we saw like yellow, or no, it was like greenish yellow, and then we saw some like pink hues, but yeah, we didn't see any like purple or like blue ones, because those ones I think are more rare, like and red is like super rare too. But yeah, it was really satisfying because it was just like pitch dark, but you just look up and you're like, wow, like the stars are so beautiful. And then there was another part of the trip where we went inside an ice cave, like literally like a glacier. We climbed up an ice mountain with those like crampons, like
Oh yeah.
the
The ice
things for
cleats.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I've never had those before. I was like, wow, that's so cool. And I was like inside this like ice cave, and it's just like the majesty of nature is so breathtaking. And the good thing about Iceland is that we went in December, my friend and I, and it was nice because the sun rose quite late in the day, like around 10 a.m., and then set very early, like around 4:30. And so when we drove out to see, there's this like these waterfalls that were kind of like frozen. And I saw literally, I kid you not, like the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen in my life. And it was at 10 a.m. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can wake up to see the sunrise. It's like it's so rare. And so yeah, that was very beautiful and just very enjoyable just to see nature so unpolluted and untouched in a way,
Yes.
just like in its natural state. It was very, very beautiful.
Yeah, this is why I really love nature as well,
Yeah.
because that really just like reminds me of God's glory.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing the
Yeah.
Milky Way as well. This was
Psalm
in
19. I look up at the stars. Yeah.
Yes. I was in Algonquin Park in Ontario. It was
Mm-hmm.
actually a camping trip, but just like a one night trip. And we went kayaking in at night. So it was
At
like
night.
yeah, it was
Ooh.
pitch black. And I was
Wow.
like, I looked up and I'm like, whoa, it felt like
Yeah.
I was in a
movie.
like an observatory.
Oh,
It
yeah,
felt
yeah,
like
yeah,
that, but no,
yeah.
this was like the actual sky.
Wow.
There was not a single cloud, so visibility was perfect.
Wow.
I saw stars all over the sky, and then
Yeah.
just like you, I was like, "Oh yeah, what's that?" Because there was like a lot of constellations, and I had no idea what it was. But there was someone who understood that.
Yeah.
So he was telling me, "Yeah, that's Venus. That's Big Dipper. That's Small Dipper."
Yeah.
And then the Milky Way was just right there, and I was like,
Yeah. Wow.
wow, it reminds me of Starfield song, like
Yeah.
the whole world is filled with your
Glory,
glory, Lord.
Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is why nature is always so like captivating for me, because it
Yeah.
really just like it's like God's painting
Mm.
like before your eyes. And
The world is his canvas.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I remember like I don't have a single picture of that night because my phone was just so crappy. Like you wouldn't be able to.
Oh,
like,
I thought you were like, oh, it's
do
just
it justice.
pictured in my head, you know?
No, yeah, but I still have those images in my head. It was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree. Like it was just, there's just something about it. You just can't help but just look and just exclaim like, wow.
Yeah. And
so
for me,
beautiful.
I'm just like, yeah, there's no way that there's no creator behind, such beautiful like creation. So yeah.
It's a nice moment. I remember there's this one time, so that was the most beautiful sunrise I think I saw in Iceland, and the most beautiful sunset was I was like biking in Copenhagen with my friend.
Okay, yeah.
And we biked, like it was like I think we spent 3 days in Copenhagen and did a bunch of like cool stuff, but we basically biked everywhere because it's like a very bikeable city. And I think we did like 30 kilometers or something ridiculous, like every day. But it didn't feel tiring because there's so many things to see and so many things to do. And I still remember, like, we were biking back to our Airbnb, and we were crossing this bridge, and like over the water, over the river, and I just looked to my right, and it was just the sun was setting, and like the reflection from the water was like making the water
Oh,
sparkle.
wow. Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was just such a
Oh,
picture perfect moment.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, like, where am I? Like, I'm
Just
so yeah, like
mesmerized.
I feel so blessed to be
Yeah,
there in that
yeah.
moment. I felt like I was like
Mm-hmm.
just seeing something like so beautiful. And so I was like, on my little bike, and then my friend is like trailing behind me, and then we just like stopped at the bridge, and we're just kind of
Yeah,
taking it in, and the water was reflecting. There was like 1,000 sparkles, and it was just we just slowly just watched the sun go down,
yeah.
and then yeah, it was just a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
So
that's what I feel about Vancouver sunsets once in a while. Because sometimes
mm,
Vancouver just gives you like these extraordinary
yeah,
looking sunsets, like the
pink
pink and
ones,
purple
yeah, yeah,
ones. It's
yeah.
like, whoa.
What
Yeah,
this?
because you see them like on postcards, but they're actually
Mm.
real.
It's
Yeah, yeah. You're like
it's real
they
life.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is there like a trip or a place that I visited and it kind of like deepens your faith or like gives you a spiritual lesson?
Mm. I mean, yes and no. Like, it's not like I seek those out when I travel,
Mm,
I must say. But I feel like in certain moments, like in the nature moments, I am reminded of
yeah,
God. So it's like those glimpses that show me, like, wow, this is like a beautiful moment.
yeah.
I did do like a missions trip to New Mexico,
Mm,
like a few years ago, and oh my goodness, the sunsets there in New Mexico, like, you're literally in a desert, and so imagine like the sun setting over
yeah.
the desert. That was really beautiful. I don't know why we're just talking about sunsets and stuff, but yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. um yeah, and so I think in that trip, that was quite memorable. We had a lot of just good worship sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Yeah.
the music. It's not even so much the music, but we were in this like itty bitty place in like literally the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
There was like
Yeah.
basically no cell reception. There was no water. There was no nothing. And but we were in this little room, and yeah, we were all just so. I think we felt really united, and just
Yeah.
it was just a beautiful moment too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That is a great segue because I wanted to mention that when I travel to places, I
Mm.
try to visit the church,
Mm-hmm.
like to not like the old church and just like take pictures, but I actually go to like services.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like if it's a Sunday, then I'll look for like a local church to visit, and I really like the unity that I can
Yeah.
see and like compare with different
Mm, mm,
churches
mm, mm, mm.
I
Yeah.
visited all over the place, and also the diversity, like,
Yeah,
oh, these
of course.
people
Yeah.
like worship God differently in different languages, they come from
Yeah.
different backgrounds, but yet we're so united
Yeah.
in Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's I like to add this like in my travel as well,
Oh,
when
that's a great
possible.
thing.
Yeah, if
And
the
it's funny because you're like, wow, it's like I don't know what it is, but somehow you kind of get in your own bubble, like, oh yeah, obviously worship is in English, but
yeah.
obviously not, right? Like you go and you're like, oh
Yeah, but
yeah,
I was
like,
gonna
way
say,
to
I mean,
go.
so long as there is like English service, then I'll go because otherwise I wouldn't
I
be able
can't
to
understand.
understand. Um,
Yeah, but it's fun. Like, I know someone that just recently like went to some like um Spanish service in like Argentina. And I was like, okay, but he doesn't speak Spanish. Okay. But it was cool. I was like, wow, just like
oh
maybe it's like a vibe.
yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
the
I
vibes.
remember. So on that Southeast Asian trip with my sister, we went to a church in Kuala Lumpur,
Mm,
and I think we had lunch after service.
mm-hmm,
And these people knew that we were just visiting. We're not
mm,
gonna like go back and like stay in Kuala Lumpur.
mm,
So
mm.
they were just being genuinely like hospitable and
Oh,
just
that's
wanting
nice.
to get to know us better. So I just
Yeah,
felt like, oh,
that's
like
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I there is it's not a transactional relationship at all.
No,
It's
no,
just
no. It's
because
just
we're
they're just nice. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I really like
Very
that
good.
about travel. All right, just for fun, what is one thing you can't travel without? And don't tell me passports.
Oh man. Like, do you want like a physical thing?
Yeah, something that you must have.
Oh gosh.
In your carry-on or luggage or whatever. I can share mine first.
Oh sure, yeah. You share mine. You share yours.
It's so shallow. It's my hair straightener. I can't travel without my hair tool.
No, that's because I remember you were like, yeah, your first job, your first paycheck.
Exactly. See how important that is to me.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah, wherever I go, even just for like a sleepover at your place, I have to have my hair straightener.
This is like bound to you. I don't know. I don't know if there's like a must. Maybe like sunglasses, which is ironic because I lose them all the time.
You sure you travel with
those? Oh, I know. Sunscreen.
Okay, yes, that's a good one.
Yes, sunscreen. Yeah. I actually feel like that is vital. I would bring multiple sunscreens. Like one tube is like not sufficient.
No, that's really good though.
Yeah. Sunscreen is
because you need it even for like winter destinations.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna lock that in. That's my answer.
Yes.
Sunscreen, and I think like moisturizer and like lip balm. Because I feel like my skin is very dry, like, and it's just naturally dry.
You just need moisturizing.
I just need moisture, basically, or else I'm gonna shrivel up. Yeah. So I think sunscreen, moisturizer, and lip balm. If we're putting aside like the actual necessities like money and passport and luggage and stuff. So
okay. And what's one travel tip that you think everybody should know?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think something practical is that if you are going to Europe, something I found very helpful is attending these city tours, city walks, like free walking tours.
I actually take that tip of yours, and I have never looked back.
Yes. Because I find that basically in Europe, many of these cities are very walkable.
Yes,
because they were they were built before cars were invented. So obviously you have to get everywhere by foot or by by cycling or whatever. But because everything is so compact, you can see a lot in a very short amount of time. So when I arrive in a new city and I don't know where to go or I'm not familiar with it, then there are these like free walking tours which are guided by a local tour guide, and it's free. And so you get to explore.
It's tips-based, right?
Yeah, it's tips-based. So I think per person, I mean, depending on the place you go, but I think 5 to 10 euro per person is like an acceptable amount, which is, I think it's they deserve it because they do a really good job, at least the ones that I've attended. And in a matter of like 2 hours or so, you walk around the city, you stop at these, notable landmarks, and they give a description and some history, and you really get to enjoy and see what you like. And so after the tour, whatever caught your eye, you can go double back. You can go back there. And I mean, it's very walkable. And if you remember from like an hour ago where the way you walked, then you can trace your steps back to those places and just explore on your own. And just actually go to the museum or go to the church or go to the whatever landmark. And I really think that's a good travel tip.
I completely agree, especially if you have a shorter amount of time in one place and you want to have like a good overview of what the history or the landmarks of each place. It's a really good way to get that experience.
So that's mine. That's my tip, I guess.
I think for me, this has been a game changer for me because I have just realized recently that I actually don't like flying. Because I get bored and then the position is just not right for me to sleep. And I can sleep like on the buses and cars, like on boats, trains, but just not on planes.
Oh, interesting.
So recently I found this inflatable travel pillow where it has holes for your face and your arms, so you can like hug it and then you can put your face down.
Like the one that like you just like cave yourself in.
Kind of, yeah. And it's quite a game changer, especially for long haul travels, because it, at least for me, it helps me sleep better. Because the traditional like neck travel pillow just doesn't work for me because I feel so restricted. It's like wearing a neck cast, and yeah, just not feeling free enough to sleep. But this one was quite helpful, and when it's like deflated, it's only like a small pouch. So yeah, if you're interested, I think you just go for like inflatable travel pillow hug is the keyword.
Oh, speaking of pouches, I think another game changer is packing cubes. That actually changed my whole system. So yeah, you can get them on Amazon and just find some packing cubes. I didn't realize, so this is really funny because previously when people were sharing, oh yeah, you got to get some packing cubes, I was like, who in their right mind is going to spend extra money to like have these cubes that are just organizing what you've already organized in your luggage? I just thought that was so excessive and unnecessary. And yet I was like, oh, now that I have them, I'm like, oh, they're very handy because what it is, it makes you organize your clothes in a more just like I organize by outfits, and then you can like roll them up and then fold it in, and it just works, and it makes everything very easy and very accessible and easy to find. Because before I was just using like bags, like I was just using like like bags that you get from wherever, and then you just like roll it up in the bag, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of ghetto. Like, let's get some actual packing cubes, and it's actually been really quite a game changer. So I would I would recommend that.
And they're fairly cheap as well, and
you can get a pack for like $20 or
again.
whatever. Yeah. Amazon.
I think another one that just came to mind is if you're in a place where you don't feel so safe traveling, or especially if you're traveling alone, and you want to find directions to places you go to, put on like a headphone so that you don't need to look at your phone as you're trying to find your directions, because
you don't want to look like you're lost.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just like listen to the directions like from your headphones, and then just like find your way.
Yes.
So you can blend in.
Very good.
Like better.
100%. Especially when you're not in what you feel like a safe area, or if it's late at night, or if you're traveling alone, or all of those things. What I would do when I get to a place, I would either I'd just take screenshots of everything, like take a screenshot of the map. If I don't have internet, or if my phone is like low on battery and I need to conserve the power, I would just take screenshots of like the Google Maps and like not have other apps running, so as to conserve the battery power. And then take pictures of like the big buildings and the big landmarks, so that you will know in your head, like, oh, if I get lost and like all is lost, if I make my way to that landmark, then I'll know where to go to my place from that landmark. And it has to be like a landmark that everybody knows. So then you can ask, you can go inside a store and ask someone. So don't ask someone off the street if you can help it. I would ask someone like who's an employee of something. And the last thing is, and this has saved me on multiple trips numerous times, is if you don't have a charger with you, like a portable charger, which I still don't have, like a battery pack, I still don't have one to this day. So that is not good. Wow. Do not follow my advice. Have that. But if you do not have that, at least bring a plug with an adapter, because if you are on your own and it's late or whatever, and you're running out of battery, there are like two places that I would always go to. Number one, McDonald's. Number two, Starbucks.
Yes.
Because these are universal franchises everywhere. So you probably find them close enough and in many places, and very strange locales too. Like you never think, but there's a Starbucks there. And all of them, bless them, they have Wi-Fi, they have air conditioning, and they have plugs. So
the essentials.
Exactly. And so it's really saved me so many times where I need the Wi-Fi to find some location or do something, or I need to charge my phone, or I'm so hot I need to go inside and get some air conditioning, and like, to pay like a few bucks for like a drink or a snack or something,
or washroom.
Or washroom. Very good. Like it's well worth it. And I find that like for whatever other things McDonald's and Starbucks does, but the fact that they are so ubiquitous everywhere, it's just easy to find. And the Wi-Fi and the air conditioning and the bathroom and the chargers really do help in a pinch.
Okay, another game changer. I mean, I've never used it, but I've only heard great things. eSIM.
Oh yeah, I've used it. I've used it like many times.
And it saves you a lot of money, and
Very
you have
true.
great coverage.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah, I'll
Airalo.
Yes,
That's the one I use.
That's the one that
not sponsored,
people rave
but
about.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Well, I guess just to end, what is still on your travel bucket list?
Oh man, I literally have a list, which I've shared with others.
What's on top of that list currently?
The top of the list now, I think, is there's just too many things. But I would think the next trip is probably gonna be like Greece and Turkey. And then Morocco.
Okay.
Yeah, I finally hit
Those
Africa.
are good places that are also on my list.
Yeah. South Africa is also on my list. Peru is on my list for South America. And Hokkaido in Japan.
Okay.
And where else? Like, I think Scandinavian countries, so Norway, Sweden, Finland, but they're too expensive. So I'm like, I need to save more money to be able to afford going there. Like, one of those trips can take me like to 3 places in Southeast Asia. So I'm like, yeah.
You know what? Just try to make friends. If you have friends who already live there,
calling all Swedes, Finns, and Danish people.
That's a travel tip. Like, make international friends.
Yeah. And then I think Australia and New Zealand. They've always been on the list, but it's just too far. It's just geographically inconvenient to get there. So, but yeah, I think maybe the next one would be Greece and Turkey, and then Morocco, and then maybe I'll finally get to Peru. But I just feel like I want to have my Spanish slightly better. Like, not that my Spanish is good, but it's just like, but that's why I want it to be like at least maybe grade 1 level before I get there. But I think I would want to do Peru with someone, because it would be like hiking and then going to the, like, the Machu Picchu. That's for one. The Inca Trail, and then the Rainbow Mountains. Yeah, those ones I think are pretty cool. But like my church auntie has done it, so I'm like, but she's and I think she's done it like with some of her friends or something. But anyway, we'll see. You?
For me, this country is not on a lot of people's bucket list. I think it's China. So mainland China.
Oh yeah. China too. Yeah. I have some cities in China I'd like to visit.
Yeah. So I've been to Taiwan and Hong Kong. But just never made it to mainland China yet. So that is on the top of my list. So Beijing and Xi'an would be two of the places I would like to visit. And other places in mainland China would be great as well, because I've never been to anywhere.
I think Shanghai's nice.
Yeah. So any new places in China would be great.
Go.
Yes, because I mean, I'm Chinese, but and I also watch like Chinese period dramas. So I really like the history and want to actually visit, those palaces and I just be immersed in the culture. It's like the motherland. So, it would be.
Any other countries aside from China?
Greece has always been there. So like Santorini. It's just very mainstream. But I also, because I also have a Greek friend, and she's been telling me about how great the place is, and I believe her. And I'm like, I have to visit.
Does she have family there still?
Yes.
So
I'll reach out. Morocco as well.
Nice.
It's funny because I had like really good Moroccan food, and that's how I was like, oh, what is this country about? And
interesting.
I think it's a very like vibrant country.
I was looking at tours. I was honestly seriously thinking about it,
and I think it's a place where I won't be traveling solo as well. So like a companion,
it'd be good to have a friend.
Would be nice.
Okay.
So and I actually would like to explore more of Canada, like the Maritimes.
I've never been to the Maritimes,
right? And more of Quebec as well. I've only been to Montreal and Quebec City.
Me too. Oh wait, no, that's not true. I've been to like some of like the itty bitty places because of the co-op. Yeah.
Or the Yukon Northwest
I've
Territories.
heard good things about the Yukon.
Yeah.
I've
so
heard
there's
like natural beauty and
yeah.
stuff.
So there's
But go in the summer, I think.
yeah. So there's a lot of great places in Canada I'd like to visit. So
nice.
Yeah. So
All
I
right.
guess
So then onward and upward. Maybe bon voyage to all of us traveling.
Yes. There's still so many things we couldn't cover.
Yeah.
Because of time constraints.
There's just many stories.
Yes. I hope this is an enjoyable episode for you guys. Thanks for listening, and see you guys at the next one.
Okay.
Bye.